let's go over an example dealing with cross-price elasticity. And so cross-price elasticity, the coefficient of cross-price elasticity is equal to percent change in the quantity demanded of good X divided by percent change in the price of good Y. So let's say we're dealing with two products, pork and sauce, right? And we've got a price change in pork. So if pork goes from a price of $8, P1, P2 is maybe $6. So the price of pork falls. What's going to happen to the quantity of sauce? And so if the price of sauce falls from the quantity of sauce being consumed goes from 100 jars to 140 jars. And at least where I'm from, we eat pork and sauce together. They are complementary goods, and if you get good sauce, it will complement your pork quite nicely. So those are consumed together, complements. And so we would expect the coefficient here to be negative, because if the price of one of these goods, again the price of pork in this example is changing. So the price of pork is dropping. So what are you going to do? Well, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to eat more pork. Pork is delicious. And so when the price of pork falls, I eat more pork. When I eat more pork, I need more sauce to put on my pork. And so the quantity of sauce is going to increase. When the price of pork drops, the quantity of sauce I'm demanding is going to increase. And so if this is a negative, then this is going to be a positive. Positive divided by a negative is going to be a negative. So that coefficient of elasticity is going to be negative if these two goods are complements. If these two goods were substitutes, where you would either purchase one or purchase the other, then the coefficient should be positive for substitutes. So real quickly, if we get rid of these and say, all right, the price of pork is gonna fall, and so we're gonna have that decrease in the price of pork. All right, what's gonna happen to my consumption of beef? A substitute. You either eat a pork sandwich or a beef sandwich. And so if the price of pork falls, I'm gonna eat more pork. And if I'm eating more pork, I'm gonna consume less beef. So if the price of pork falls, the quantity of beef that I demand is also going to fall. So again, negative and a negative, that's going to be a positive for the coefficient of cross-price elasticity. If the price of pork were going up, then I'm going to eat more beef because I'm going to eat less pork. And with that higher price, now I'm going to switch. I'm going to buy more of that substitute. And again, we would expect to see if this were a positive, then we would expect to see that positive coefficient of cross-price elasticity for those two goods. But to get back to our example here, pork and sauce, we're seeing that drop in the price of pork, and we're going to see the quantity of sauce that we consume should go up from Q1 of 100 to Q2 of 140. And so this is going to be a negative. But let's figure out the value of that. And that's kind of difficult to do here because we don't know where our starting point is and our ending point. So we can use this arc elasticity computation. So we're going to give you a formula for that. And there are a couple different ways you can do it, but this is one way to do it. If you do Q1 minus Q2 times P1 plus P2 divided by P1 minus P2 times Q1 plus Q2 and then you take the four values, P1, P2, Q1, Q2, and plug them into that formula, and you should get negative 40 times 14 divided by 2 times 240. And that should give you, oh yeah, there's a negative, so negative 1.17. Again, the negative, that's what we expected. When we see that price of pork fall, we're going to eat more pork, and so we're going to eat more sauce because it's a complement. Okay, these, whenever you're doing these on an exam or on homework, you got to decide, okay, am I going to use this formula or am I going to use this formula? And it's fairly straightforward because there are only so many different ways I can ask the problem. If I give you two prices and two quantities, then you're probably going to want to use this. If I were to change the question and say, well, the price of pork fell a certain percentage, then and the quantity of sauce demanded changed a certain percentage, then you know you got two pieces of information you're going to solve for the coefficient. Or I could give you the coefficient and the price change or the quantity change, and you could solve for that three. So if you got two pieces of information, you're probably going to use this formula and then solve for that third piece of information. If you've got four pieces of information, you're probably going to use this formula and solve for that missing fifth piece of information. So hopefully that helps you on the cross-price elasticity.